At the beginning, one of my biggest mistakes was that when I was walking the property, everybody was asking me, well, like, what do you want to do? And on my hand, I'm like, well, I don't know what I want to do. What do you recommend me to do? And they're like, well, you tell me what to do, and I charge you based on that. And I was like, well, I don't know what to do. so I guess that was my biggest mistake, because it's like, if you don't know what to do, they can't tell you what to do. So I mean, now obviously I know what I need to do. So that was one of my biggest mistakes. So before you get into flipping, you gotta know what you're doing, what you want, what you should change, what you shouldn't change, what you keep, and all that. So after that, I ended up doing so much stuff. I learned how to, put sod, because I didn't want to hire somebody else. So I put sod on the back, and then I learned how to paint also a fence. And I ended up that I only painted one side of the fence, not the other side. But it looked good on the picture, so that was the only thing. I guess you're supposed to paint the inside and the outside. But so I don't know anything about labor, and I was just like, changing little things and, adding doorknobs. I YouTubed it and tried to help, the contractors just so we can, finish this up, right away. I also got this with the hard money, so I remember it was like about $3K a month. So it was dragged for like 4 months, and ended up being 5 months because the contractor messed up. There was like 5 windows in the home, and then one day I was walking outside, and then I see, why is that window covered? And he put like drywall over it, and I was like, what the heck? And then he's like, well, I can change it, but it's gonna be like another $500. I was like, geez, okay, so I'm just paying extra and extra and extra. So at the end of everything, I ended up closing. Well, when I got it on the contract, and then the inspection came, right? And then I was like, okay, well, let's see what happens. And then the roof needs to be replaced, some windows have to be replaced, and then there's a sewer line cracked. I got somebody come take a look at it, and then they quoted me about $7,000. So I was like, oh shoot, okay. So now $7,000. Like I was expecting, after everything was done, I was like, okay, I'm gonna clear maybe 40K. Then the roof came, so it was like another 10K. Then the sewer line was like 7, 8K. And I was like, man, what else can go wrong? And the plumbing was wrong. And I guess like the contractor I hired was one of those handymans that were like, well, yeah, I can do it all. Yeah, what's the law? Those guys are like, yeah, I do everything, I do it. And then like when the inspector came, they were like, okay, well, they put electricity on the dishwasher that it should have not been there. The whole house could have burned. Oh. And I was like, yeah, the electrician that came, he's like, well, this is like so wrong. The plumbing is all messed up. Everything is leaking. So I have to get everything done. So at the end of everything, I closed, and I ended up netting $10,000 on a $500,000 home, which is like nothing, on the real estate side. So I was kind of upset about that. But while I was waiting for that closing, I kind of stumbled on a condo that I found, and the condo was like 100K ARV 150. So I was like, okay, well, I'm waiting for this. I'm gonna ask my brother if he wants to jump on a deal, and then he gave me half. I put the other half, and then the condo ended up being like so fast. Like we fixed it for like 10K, and then we ended up netting like 25,000 on the first one. And the cool thing about it was that it was a cash buyer. So from the time that I bought it to the time that I sold it, it was about a month and 2 weeks. And I was hooked. I was like, I mean, more money than 500K house? Like, shoot, like where have I been my whole life, And then after that, I picked on condos. Like they were just amazing. Like for a 1 bed, 1 bath, like I knew I didn't even have to see them anymore. Like 500 to 700 square foot usually takes 10 to 15,000 on the rehab side. So no more than 15,000. That was like my rule. So like I was just buying condos sight unseen. So my first year I ended up doing after that first home, it was 6 condos after that. It was just one after another. And I ended up leveraging, my parents' money, my dad, my brother. They saw what I was doing, and my dad was the one mainly helping me, and then my brother was like, well, I'm gonna jump in. And then my mom was like, hey, I wanna make money too. So I was like, okay, well, let's do it. And then that's how I was able to get 6 condos the first year. Condos have just been like, there's 3 things that I don't have to worry about condos, which is the roof, the sewer line, and the structural. And also landscape, so 4 things. So those are the number 1 4 things. And then I follow a rule for the condos. I call it the 3 threes. So condo under 300K ARV, no more than 30,000 rehab, and no more than 300 HOA feet. So that's kind of what my rule is. I usually like to buy in condos up below 250, and condos they're just easy. Even on the 2 bed 2 bath that I just did, the rehab was 20K. So I mean, there's not much you gotta do. And then in one of them, I had an inspection, and the balcony was like kind of falling. And then the cool thing about it is that I didn't have to fix it. HOA takes care of that. So it's like all these things that you don't have to worry about. That I was like so traumatized after the first deal that I did. I was like, man, I don't know if I want to do a single family. I like this condo thing. So I just did like 3, 4, 5, and then even when the inspection came back, I didn't have to worry about none of these big ticket items. You know, I was just like, if you had to fix something little, it wouldn't be no more than $1,000. So, whatever your profit you're already estimating. So it's like, okay, well, there's only $1,000 that you have to fix. So it's not like the big ticket items like the roof and all these things that I didn't check. So yeah, that was like the main thing about condos. And after a while, I ended up, so I cleared about 7 last year. And then this year I already had 2 closed, and I already have 4 that I'm 3 flips, condos that I'm doing, and I just closed in a single family last Wednesday. I haven't even gotten the keys because I have to come here. But so I'm gonna get that on Monday and finally, stumble back into single family, which is kind of where I want to be. But my plan now is just to do a single family and then a couple of condos in between, and then go do another single family. Just because on a single family you can clear like 30, 40K, 50K, depending, on what it is. And then just get those little condos, because condos profits for that is anywhere from 15 to 25K in Denver at least. And that is a market where it definitely works. So it doesn't work in every market from what I'm hearing. But the condos is just like such, because the medium average in Denver, I think it's 550 right now for the average home. So people want to get into condos, because condos, the mortgage ends up being like 800, 900, 1,000 with the HOA, and they're paying rent 1,400 for a 1-bed, 1-bath. So it's like a no-brainer. You save $400 a month if you want to go into an entry condo from what you're paying in mortgage. on rental, on a rent. So it's like a no-brainer. And then I have a couple of rentals also. I like the ones that have the mother-in-law suite. That way you collect too. So yeah, I have a single family like that, and I actually have a condo rental too. So that I always make sure for the rentals that the HOA is like no more than 150. You want it to be as minimal as possible. That way you don't have to worry about all that. And then after being so busy with all this stuff, this year in January I decided to bring in a partner to do the wholesaling side. So we use text blasting, launch control. That's mainly what we do. We try not to do the Denver city just because it's so saturated. We bought a list from there, and they were like, "Oh, we got so many calls, texts. They get some. It's just like so saturated." So we do like the suburbs. So we got in 2 deals from that. First one was, I think it was like 6K assignment, and the other one was like 21K. So it's pretty cool.
Oh.
Yeah, but it's.
Forget flipping shit.
Those are cool. Yeah. So now I'm gonna, once we get a deal on the wholesale side, I'm just gonna keep it as a rental or do something like that. Yeah, that's the whole plan for that. But yeah, like that's mainly of everything that I do. Now for the launch control, I brought a partner in just because I just don't have too much time on that, and I'm looking to hire somebody just to do the flip inside with me. Just because now I'm getting confused of like, I bought this faucet for which one? I'm just getting, because I'm just ordering like a ton of stuff. Like before I was ordering one, and then I get another flip and I ordered one. Now I'm just buying like 10 faucets, and I'm like, all these doorknobs and all that stuff, just because, and like for me, at the beginning, I was kind of like, I had so much time, I want to make the flip look amazing, I want to do gray, black accents, and now I have so much going on, so I'm just like, we're just going to do the same thing. We're doing just gray, black accents, the same light fixture. I like the modern light fixture, the modern chandelier. That's the one that I like. Everybody likes it. So that's what I'm doing for all of them now. I don't have to worry about going back. But sometimes I buy on Amazon, and then the seller is no longer there, so I have to look for anyone, same closet or same paint. But yeah, that's mainly what I've been doing.
Let me ask you, go ahead.
Oh, well, I just kind of wanted to backtrack a little bit on your rental versus flips. What do you have like a criteria to what makes it a rental versus flip? Like, why would you keep the 2 rentals that you have versus why didn't you sell them?
Yeah, the first rental I bought is because I put myself I was like, by the age I'm 27, I wanted to have a rental no matter what. So I kind of bought it like in a bad way. But usually the criteria that I use is, what I try to use is like, if it's 70%, like where I can burr, I want to keep it as a rental. And if it's a flip, it's a little bit more like 80%, not too much profit on that, just because you're going to go in and out right away.
Okay.
So that is my criteria that I use. So either a burr, or if it's 80%, or you can calculate the profit, then I do a flip.
And do you want to continue doing both?
Yeah, I'm so into like the flip inside right now that now that I have some capital, I want to invest it back into doing some rentals. That's the goal. But it's just so hard in Denver just because it's so, like the price is so high that it's very hard to cash flow unless you're literally getting a home at 50%, which is hard, unless you're getting a pre-foreclosure home and the guy's like, yeah, here's my house.
And you said that you're going to invest your cash back into rentals. Are you leveraging debt or are you paying them in cash?
For the rentals?
Uh-huh.
No, yeah, I'm going to leverage that.
Leverage debt.
But with the first condos, how do you make those offers? Like you pay full cash?
No, there were, the one I did, all cash, but after that I realized that I was like, there's no reason why why should I do all cash where I can just use that same cash and do it in 3. So after that, I'm just doing a straight hard money, give it 20% down, and then that way I can leverage. So there's 2 places that I get it from, off market, from wholesalers. So I mainly buy from that side, 80% of the deals, and the other deals I buy from the MLS. So there's that double dip technique that I use. I call the agent to try to represent me as well. Sometimes it doesn't work, so the agent is like, hey, I have a partner that works in my team. He can write the offer for you. So then I have the partner find where they're at the offers, and then he's like my guy trying to find out from his friend. So that's how I'm able to bid a little bit higher at times. And because like if it's the home is for 100K and then they're like, oh, the bids are like a 105, 109, you should offer 110. I'm like, okay, let me calculate that. All right, let's do 110. So he's like my guy on my side. So yeah, that's why I like to use that double dip on MLS only.
The funds that you get in from the wholesalers, how do you fund them?
Funding them? With Harmony. Yeah, Harmony and then a little bit of cash. Yeah, up to 20% now. Yeah, so it's gotten to the point where I'm doing so many, so I'm using OPM, other people's money. I'm using my dad's money, my own money, my brother's money, and my mom's money for every single one. So I have each of them in every condo.
Let me ask you about that. So you're putting 20% down, right? But what is the bank asking you where this money's coming from, or how do you go about that?
So I'm putting 20% down for the hard money, but because the hard money is not really a bank. Since now I have they know who I am, they're no longer asking me where the money comes from. They no longer ask for like statements. They're not even pulling my credit anymore.
Like a local.
Yep, yeah. I send them the deal. Sometimes I send a guy over there. It depends which hard money, because there's different hard money. There's a hard money that pulls your credit. There's a hard money that doesn't pull your credit, but it goes checking the property. So it just depends which hard money you're using. But I have like 4, because at the beginning I thought that it was like a bank. If you use the same bank and you're doing 4 deals with the same bank, like they're gonna be like, where are you getting all this money from? So what I did in my head, I don't know if this is right, but I just use different hard monies for every deal because it doesn't go on your credit. That way they don't know which deal I'm doing.
So you were aiming 20% of profit in flips, that's what you're saying?
No. No, I was saying for a rental, like I would have to get a property 50% LTV, like in Denver, because it's so high. But yeah, on the flips, on the flips, there's not really a percentage that I aim for. There's more of a number that I aim for, just because it's so saturated. If you try to do 70% LTV minus the rehab, you're not gonna find any deals in Denver. So what I do is I calculate it, I backtrack it. So I do the ARV minus the real estate commissions, minus the holding cost, minus what I want to make. Usually for the houses, I want to shoot for 30K on average. If it's an MLS, everything is big.
Condos?
Condos I shoot for like 20K, usually 15 to 20K.
And if you can do 6, 7 of them, that 20K goes.
Yeah, because
six-figure year.
Exactly. That's what I did last year. Yeah, because condos are amazing because it's quick money. You're not making like the single family, but the single family you're locking up your money for 5, sometimes 6 months. On condos, I'm in and out. Like the first one, I was in and out 1 month and 2 weeks, which was like that's why I was hooked. Mm-hmm. And after that, it usually takes, on average, takes about 2 months. Maybe on the worst scenario, it will take like 2 months and a half. So the good thing is you're not paying a lot of interest either.
Yeah, I was going to say, you're probably crushing it with the interest. I bet your hard lenders are like, no, keep up.
I mean, regardless, the payment is like $1,000 or less on a condo.
Can you talk a little bit about how to find hardware lenders, how that relationship is built, how other people can tap into that network of unlimited money, really? Yeah. So one of the places that I've searched or looked for, it's in Facebook groups. There's a lot of people that post. You have to make sure which one is legit, which one is not. There's a lot of scammers. If anybody's asking you to send them money without even knowing it, don't do that. So that's a place that I do. And then the other ones is through realtors or other investors.
is where I find some hard money. And then just Google. Like I've been Googling, or like the way that I found my best hard money lender was when I went before COVID. I went to a real estate investor. It's like a Spanish thing. His name is Rafael Condo. He's a big investor in California, I think is, yeah. And I went to a seminar in San Francisco, and then there was like all these vendors, and I never heard, I was new to this, and then that's when I found Conventus, which is, if you have over 720 credit score and you've done 10 flips, it's 8% and 1 point up front. So that's where I found them. And then aside from that, then everybody else is from Colorado that I found, and like I have 4 or 5 that I use.
750?
720 credit score, yeah. After 10 flips. I don't know if it's 10 flips specifically or 10 real estate deals. I don't know which one it is. I'm not too sure.
With them?
Yeah, no, in general. Like that you've done with whoever. Yeah, but I'm not sure if it's 10 flips.
How can you prove that?
Because they check back on the tax, on the, like who owned the home then. I think it's like, there's a way to check on the county or something, who owned the house when, and all that. Because I gave them the list of my addresses, and they're like, yeah, you own the home then. Like, I don't know how they check. I think it's the county records. When the deed was recorded, I think that's probably what it was. That's how they check. I don't know what they do, but they always double check, make sure you're done.
How many deals have you done with
With them, I've done three. Because I've done three. I use like a few of them. I've never done 2 deals at the same time with one person. I just use like a leverage time too.
Can you talk about how you manage, find, and handle contractors, how you pay them, now that you have a couple deals going on, like how you structure that?
Yeah.
How old are you again?
28. Yeah. Yeah, so for contractors, I mean, there's not a single contractor or anybody that I've heard that had the same contractor forever. I mean, my first year I went through 4, so I'm on my 8th, I think.
That's why you're like,
Yeah, so I'm on my 8th. I mean, contractors are just so hard. Like Felipe was saying, once you get comfortable with them, they're like, hey, what's up, buddy? You bring them drinks, some chelas, they're like, oh, the next time they're like trying to charge you more than that, So I mean, by the time that I'm already working with somebody, I already have 2 on that line. Like that's what I'm doing nowadays. Like I'm already talking to 2. They don't know how much volume I'm doing, so I just tell them, next deal I get, I'll get you. It could be like in 6 months or whenever this one fails. Now, as far as the payment, I usually